Okay, you're streaming.
All right, welcome everybody, thanks for being here. Welcome to the Math and Science Academy Board of Directors meeting. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. And we'll call this meeting or at 6:02 p.m. Would one of the students like to read our MSA vision?
Our vision statement is to be an innovative, sustainable model of academic excellence for all students that creates well-rounded lifelong learners and global citizens.
Thank you, Ryan. Sego, you want to read the mission for us?
Our mission is we provide accelerated and inclusive curricula and instruction in all subjects with an emphasis on math and science.
Thank you. Is there a volunteer to read the land acknowledgement?
Sure.
Thank you.
So land acknowledgement, we would like to acknowledge that the land in which we gather is the land of the Okechewee band that exists. City Council Fires pronounce the existence of the Dakota Coyote have lived in the area since the time immemorial and before the U.S. war was created and the state of Minnesota was created. They live within the Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. They were caretakers of the land and lived in harmony. They belonged to the land, and the land did not belong to them. It is within MSA's responsibility as the academic institution to disseminate knowledge about Indigenous people and their history and relationships with this land. MSA works to build a relationship with Indigenous students and their families through academic pursuits and historical recognition.
Thank you. Roll call members, Kari Kerner, here. Ryan Linsmeyer.
Here.
Sarah Harms.
Here.
Jen Nice is absent, she's on a school field trip. Isaac Leonardi.
Here.
Mark Resses.
Here.
Leanne Abbott.
Here.
Mary Yap.
Here.
Maggie Bafruti.
Here.
Saya Shabatu.
Here.
And Ryan Cunningham.
Here.
Thank you. All right, open forum, we didn't have any open forum requests, so we can move past that. Next up is we have, unfortunately, have a new board member joining us, so we'll do the oath of office for Mark Resses. So Mark, we're just gonna read through statements, and we'll sign this when we're done. Just repeat after me. So, I swear affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I swear and affirm
I swear and affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and I will discharge faithfully
the duties as a member
the duties as a member
of the Math and Science Academy's Board of
of
Directors
the Math and Science Academy Board of Directors
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to be on the board. We're very excited. Thank you for doing this. All right, I'm just gonna sign this and send it over to you quick. Next would be approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second?
I second to approve the agenda.
Any discussion, questions, comments about the agenda tonight? Any questions? Okay. All right, so all in favor of approving the agenda? Aye. Those opposed? Abstain? Agenda passes. Are there any conflicts of interest tonight? Sounds good. How, we'll approve the minutes from our last meeting. So is there a motion to approve the September 23rd minutes?
I will move to approve the September 23rd minutes.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion about the minutes as is? All right, All in favor of approving the 9/23 board minutes? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Next, we have board recognition.
Okay, tonight I would like to we'd like to recognize our principals here at Math and Science Academy. We have 3 of them here today. Mr. Heyman, if you could stand up, he is our middle school principal, and he has done an incredible amount of work getting our middle school students all moving in the same direction, which they don't always like to go all the same way, but he does a great job of getting them that way. And he has also really done a lot of work with our activities in our athletics. And over the last 5 years, we've seen, well, I can tell you we've had great improvement since I was the athletic director. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Heyman. Next up is Mr. Lee, who is our high school principal, and he has been here for, I think, 4 years now. Came in as an assistant principal, stepped in at the last minute when I became executive director. He has spent an incredible amount of time learning how to do the schedule and is doing a great job with that. He's also taken on an ambitious task this year of having a private meeting with every high school student, and I think you're most of the way through the 9th grade.
Almost done with the name.
Yeah, so he's calling students in and having a quick little meeting with them, just getting to know them at a time when they're not in trouble or there's nothing. So that's been an ambitious undertaking, so thank you for that. And then we have Mr. Dr. Tarks, who has joined us as our elementary principal. He's going to tell you a little bit about the work that he has done in getting our elementary school up and running, and I'm blown away every day with all the things that we have managed to get done in such a short period of time. So thank you very much. And then Dr. Raymond, who is not able to be here tonight. She is our special education director. She's not officially a principal, but holds a very similar role. She has done quite a lot of work with us on our MTSS and really bringing us up to the standard of MTSS, which is the multi-tiered system of support. She's also really implemented a research-based approach to special education and gotten that system back to where it should be. And we are all completely compliant now with state regulations. So this is Principal Appreciation Month, so I wanted to take this opportunity to appreciate our principals and directors. So if you could all come up and we will shake your hands and get a picture. Mr. Tarks or Dr. Tarks, was already today over at Eagle Bluff visiting our students, so he is made a drive back up here from nearly to Iowa.
Thanks. You're welcome.
So Dr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you.
High ropes course and everything else
Thank you.
today.
You know, they couldn't do high ropes because it was too windy today.
windy.
So,
Oh,
but
okay.
did we build campfires? And yes, we did. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, come on over here, you gotta get your picture. You come this way, you come around on this.
Where do we quit? Come right here this way.
You and me both? Wait, okay, I feel. Wait.
You're a little bit too tall, Steve.
This
I
is
don't
just-
know if this has happened very often.
I'm gonna go over. Yeah.
Can you get us all?
Yes, I can. And I even know how to use this phone, which I got yesterday. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks for all your work.
It is actually Steve's anniversary today, so it's probably.
So are we going to dinner? Is that what you're talking about?
He's gonna take you to dinner.
We have that on record.
About the-
Yeah, I got that recorded. You can vote on that.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, number 10, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion about the consent agenda? Questions, comments? Any discussion? Okay, with that heard, all in favor of approving the motion to approve the consent agenda? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion passes, thank you. All right, next we have our reports. Students, do you have a report you'd like to share with us?
We haven't heard much, other than that homecoming went really well,
Okay,
which was a very good thing to hear.
All right.
I've heard from a lot of 11th graders that this year's PSAT was very rough. Because we were told, or I researched why students would be feeling this way, and we were told that it was your guys' year, it was quote unquote easier than expected, and a lot of states' national merit scores, the index was very high. So at least I believe that to counteract that, they changed how the test worked so that it would be harder to decrease the national merit index. That way they basically reset how it's scored, and then they can reset because students were getting, I believe, too good at the PSAT. So that's one thing I heard.
And Ryan, I've seen you in the Fire News Network. I don't know if anybody has seen the new daily announcements. Was that you?
I wasn't.
Oh, somebody look, who did the daily?
Micah.
Mike, okay. I apologize, Ryan.
is this a new,
It's a new way of doing the daily announcements, yeah.
Yeah.
and what do you think of that?
It's pretty neat.
Is it, so it's on screen?
It's, well, personally, I was sent the video, cause I was told it was sent to the, advisories, I believe, but.
Yeah, they show it in advisory.
It was not in the PSEO advisory, so I didn't get to see it until like a week later or.
Yeah, I think it was in the daily announcements too, if anybody wants to check it out, but that was really cool.
No.
And it looked a lot like Ryan, so.
Was there also a change in the PSAT with science? I thought my student reported that there is no longer science or a change in science in the PSAT.
PSAT has always been math and English.
Okay, so no science ever?
There's like a bit of science in both in the English section and then as well as math section with analyzing graphs and data,
Okay.
and then like showing how they correlate and answering best. That's mainly in the English section, and then in the math section it's usually interpreting graphs and doing like mean or mode and like your range and whatnot.
There's a new MCA science test that will be given in 10th grade for our high school students.
Yeah, maybe
this
that
year.
was the change with PSAT
Yeah.
being harder, but I thought it had to do with science, but.
Thanks, guys, I appreciate that, thank you for sharing. Board report, Brian was gonna talk a little bit about
Yeah.
last meeting.
So a little bit on the board report, as we all sat on a wonderful evening together. When we were talking about, one of the things we talked about was the composition of the board. And for full equity, for any parent that would like to get involved or teacher, we would like to keep the composition the same. And then if we would need to make changes, we review as time goes on, as more and more, as we grow and expand. We also came up with 3 goals as a board, and I'll just quick read through them so they're on record. Number 1 is that the MSA board will review student achievement with an equity lens twice during the school year, which was presented to all board members today. I believe it should have been in front of you. Twice annually, we will, as a board, complete a self-evaluation and participate in an external evaluation. And then lastly, each board member will spend about 1 hour with the executive director observing our school and the school culture and see what's going on in classrooms and with the students, so interacting with the people.
Okay, thank you. And on top of that, just a reminder to all of you that we were going to review the survey that we already took for our November workshop. So remember to take a look at that, and if there's anything that stands out to you or you see themes or anything that you need to discuss, I'm prepared to that. I'm just gonna add in that our last workshop as well, we had some discussion about fundraising. And if anyone's interested in being a part of the fundraising committee, they are meeting on Thursday, I think that's the 23rd.
Yep.
At 7? 6?
6 online, so if
It's
you,
virtual, so if anyone's interested in doing that, there will be a meeting Thursday.
yeah, just let me know and I'll send you an invite.
Yeah. And then, last thing to know, I guess, is that the annual audit is starting this week.
And I know we were gonna look at the survey at the November work session. I don't think we have one on the calendar right now, when I just went and checked.
Oh, okay.
So we'll connect on that and let
Okay.
us know, and we'll let you, the board
Sounds
know when we will review that.
Okay.
What, is that on the calendar currently?
It's not on the calendar, the work session in November because of
workshop.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I think we had pushed the board meeting forward, and then that, then election day, we're not allowed, even though there's really not much on the ballot, we're not allowed to have a meeting on election night.
Understood.
For the next workshop.
Yeah.
All right.
Shooting for December then?
Probably.
Yeah, I
Okay,
guess so.
sounds good. All right, expansion report?
Okay, well, I was out at the construction site today. You may have noticed with the mud on my pants and the fact that I've been out in the rain twice today, so I apologize for my rumpled appearance. They are almost done with the roofing on the 2-story section. All of the concrete floor will be in before the end of the week. They plan to put in the sidewalks now. The rain and the weather has not been good for the concrete for the sidewalks. So that is going in likely on Saturday, they're hoping that the weather will be good enough for that. Once the sidewalks are in, they will be able to start with the sod shortly and all the landscaping. So that should be coming in, early November. The framing is, I believe, complete or nearly complete in the 3-story section. There's sheetrocking on the 3rd floor. The temporary heat equipment should be arriving this week. They can't do any of the mudding and taping right now because it's too cold. So they'll need to warm the building so that it doesn't crack. So that's kind of shifted things around, but they've been able to continue to make progress. We are still on schedule. I get to find out tomorrow. They finally come up with the costs for the traffic signal and that stuff. So I have a meeting with them. They didn't want to talk about it today. They wanted to have a longer meeting tomorrow. So we'll do that. There's still some controversy over the field lighting. The city is requiring 50-foot lights. The lighting engineers think that the 70-foot lights will cut on the light bleed into the neighborhood. So they've been meeting on that quite a bit because the city's holding steady on they want the 50-foot poles. So they had the lighting engineer come in and say that the couple of houses that are right behind, it would be like someone shining your brights on your headlights into their back windows if we went with the lighting system that the city wanted. So that was looking very promising that they were gonna let us put 70-foot poles in. Yesterday, they came back and said that they want the poles to line the soccer field so that they are further from so they would be between the track and the soccer field, which I believe is going to be dangerous. We will not, and we have already put in all the draining and the conduit for that, for the lights to go where the city told us to put them the first time. So it would be incredibly expensive to move them there. And dangerous, so we will continue to work with the city on that. But we will not have if you run off the soccer field, you're not running into a post. That just seems rather unsafe. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. We're gonna continue to work with that, and I'll give you an update as we know more. The traffic signal, they are expecting to have Bailey Road closed from mid-April to the first week in June. During that time, we can put up the traffic signal. I'm not sure what that will do to the people who live down that way. It's not just our project, though. There's a number of projects they're doing on Bailey Road. It won't take us 6 weeks to put up the traffic light, but they don't want to close the road at another time. If the road's going to be closed, we'll do our work then. So that traffic signal is ordered, and the scope of the work I'll find more about tomorrow. So it's kind of where we are with expansion. We should have a report in the next month or so about the work on this building that they're working on. That there's still a little bit of pricing that they have to figure out. So and we still don't have word on how much screening we'll need to put around the HVAC units on the roof of the building yet. Several of them are on the roof right now. They're not all up there. They are visible from the road, so we have to figure out what they will require of us. We're hopeful that it's not too much because that's incredibly expensive. So that's kind of where we are with expansion.
I want to ask a question. I know, Sega, you brought it up last meeting. For the new building, you said that there will be a lot of space for PSEO students to study on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What is MSA's plans explicitly for PSEO students? Like, are there going to be classrooms with a bunch of whiteboards, or what kind of resources is MSA going to provide to PSEO students?
They won't be in classrooms. There's a room that we'll probably use as the boardroom too, off of the commons on the first floor. So that will be the room that PSEO students will work in.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ann. Next up would be the ED report.
Okay, we've invited Dr. Tarks to come and give us an update on where we are with the elementary curriculum and preparations.
Perfect. You got it working.
Oh, and we got it up on the,
job,
you
Kate.
fixed it.
All right. Is this the little touch screen too? Oh, no, it's not. So I'm just gonna have to say click when I'm ready to get it. Here we go. No, glad to be here tonight, everybody. We'll do kind of an abridged version of the session that we did at the town hall, and so I appreciate seeing a number of familiar faces at the town hall. Really thankful for the support there, but we're really making some good progress on the elementary and program design, and we've had some great parent engagement opportunities the last few weeks, and so excited to kind of give you a summary. We can move on to the next. So just kind of want to zoom out a little, and you can click on the next one too if you want to, Caitlin. Zoom out a little, I started July 1st, and so I want to kind of give you a little picture of, how in the world do you go about planning an elementary school? What were the starting points? How did that work? And so when we first started, really wanted to make sure that our elementary program sits in alignment with who MSA is, right? And so a big part of the first weeks on the job was to get to understand what are our mission, values, equity statement, all of those kind of components. And then I also wanted to make sure that we took a look at last year's focus group feedback, right? Wanted a clear vision of who the school is, what the community is looking for inside of an elementary school. And so project number one was to really do a qualitative analysis of all of these kind of master documents here to try to look at what are some common themes that we see emerge that we want to make sure to build our program around. And so in kind of conducting that qualitative analysis, there's 4 themes that have emerged that are going to be essential to our elementary school. 1 is the group, 2 is the individual, 3 is academic excellence, and 4 is well-rounded programming, right? And so this is kind of just the matrix that I use to kind of do that. And so the various language pieces and our values documents and our focus group feedback, right? Here's the specific pieces that speak to those ideas. And so as we design, we want to make sure sure that we're really building a group that works well for the group and the individual, that we're tending to academic excellence in the longstanding MSA tradition, and then also that we are making sure that we're tending to the whole person that walks into the building as well. Caitlin? And so from that process, really created this elementary school theory of action, right? So Simon Sinek has a book called Start With Why, and he talks about the golden circle. He's a organizational leadership guru, and he says that the best organizations all have a common shared sense of why that infuses the entire organization. Every organization knows their what, but very few organizations really know their why. And so we want to start with our why, and from our why comes our how, and then our what, right? And so based on those themes that were identified, the group, the individual, well-rounded programming, and academic excellence, created a statement of why for the elementary, right? We exist to ensure both the individual and the group are empowered to thrive as learners and well-rounded human beings. So that's our check mark, right? So every single step along the way, every decision that's being made, we're vetting it in alignment to that why. How does this serve the group? How does this serve the individual? How does this serve our commitment to academic excellence and well-rounded programming? The next part of design then is really around the how, right? And so there's work to be done in the how. How do we make sure to put our why in action? And so the how lives in the realms of culture, systems, MTSS, strategy. It's how we execute our statement of why. And then of course there's a lot of work to be done around the what. What are we going to do? What's our curriculum? What's our instructional model? You know, all the little logistical details around report cards and grading, social emotional support, schedule, all of those things are the what, and they also stem directly out of that why, right? Next step along the way was to really take a look at teaching and learning, okay? I'm a big believer in teacher autonomy. It's really, really important. There's a lot of work on research on this idea of autonomy, and we have a very structured type of job that you do. You know, micromanagement is okay. So if you work in a factory type setting and everybody has to do things the most efficient fashion, micromanage away. But in creative work, micromanagement kills the soul, right? And it decreases quality work, it decreases job satisfaction. Autonomy is really, really important, right? And so we want to empower our staff with autonomy to innovate along the way. And we also have to have kind of a through line of, doesn't matter who the teacher is, what is going to be that through line that unites our classrooms? What is that instructional floor that we can innovate above, but to which everybody's going to stand on top of every day, right? What are those non-negotiables? And so as we kind of look at this, the first one is really around efficacy. John Hattie is, I always call him like the #1 education researcher nerd on planet Earth, okay? His field of study is meta-analyses, and so he studies everybody else's research, and then he does a a statistical analysis rather, and he's able to actually rank effect size, okay? And so what he's done is he's studied 282 things over the last 20 years that we commonly do in schools. He ran it through a statistical analysis, and he ranks these common school practices in order of greatest effect on student achievement to a negative effect on student achievement. 282 things he has studied, from homework to having an arts program to formative assessment. All of these different things live inside of that. And #1 and #3 on the list of 282 is efficacy. Okay? It is this belief that, that all students can succeed, and it is this belief that we as educators can actually positively contribute to that, right? Efficacy has actually been one of those things that I've picked up on since I started at Math and Science as one of the secret sauce pieces here, okay? In addition to planning the elementary, every person that I run into, every person I have a meeting with, I ask him that question. What's the secret sauce here, right? If we're going to try to translate it down to the elementary, what's the secret sauce? And without question, I get some version of exactly the same answer to everybody that I talk to, and it is, the kids here are special. The kids here are special. That's efficacy right there, okay? When we as adults believe that the kids that walk in our building every day are special, we're going to keep that bar high, right? We're going to give them a special program. And so we want to make sure that every step of the way inside of our elementary classrooms, that efficacy theme translates. We want to believe our kids are special. We want to keep that bar high. We want to be culturally responsive. We want to make sure students feel seen, valued, and challenged through culturally responsive teaching. That will be part of our instructional floor. We want to be data-driven, right? We're going to collect meaningful data every single day. We're going to use it regularly, and we're going to use that data to intervene and to accelerate, right? To meet those individual needs for students. We want to make sure we're standards-based, right? We're going to teach the curriculum to fidelity until it's mastered, and then we're going to open that door to innovation and autonomy. We want to make sure our classrooms are actively engaged, right? So we design our day around students doing, from problem solving to collaborating. Students work hard and own their learning, right? We don't want our classrooms to be a space where kids are going to sit for 90 minutes and just listen, right? We want students doing, okay? And so that's going to be one of our instructional floor pieces. And then, of course, we want our classrooms to be well managed, right? We want them to be highly productive. We want them to be safe. Nothing matters more, right? We want our classrooms to feel safe. We are not going to be a chaos space. We're going to be well managed. We're not going to waste time. There's no minutes to waste, right? And so this will be that instructional floor that we train and develop our elementary teachers on, and these will be the common expectations that we have. We innovate above that floor, right? Take it from here and run with it, whatever that looks like, but these will kind of be our non-negotiables that tie our team together. No matter which student or which class you're in, this will be some of the common learning experiences you have. Next piece is really around curriculum review, right? And so that's been a robust process also since July. And so at this point in time, I feel really confident about our math, literacy, and science curriculum. I'll briefly share a little bit about what the vetting process was like, but Bridges was definitely our most kind of complex curriculum review process because there's a lot of math curriculum out there. Minnesota's in the midst of transitioning to the 2022 state-approved math standards. Minnesota is also one of the only states in the entire country that is not Common Core math. And so what that means is, if you are a curriculum company, you have, a priority to build a curriculum towards Common Core because 45 states use Common Core, right? You're not going to build a curriculum that aligns perfectly with Minnesota because we're the one standalone. And so vetting that to this new set of standards was a little bit complicated. So there's a lot of outreach that I did to MDE. They have this Compass network that's part of the Department of Education that supports schools. And so I met with math specialists and really took a look at focus group feedback from last year, took a look at this idea of the rigor stool, which is kind of guiding MDE's math approach moving into the future, and a few other kind of ideas, and created kind of this actually AI analysis process of 5 or 6 different curriculum that were identified in conversations with MDE and Compass leaders, right? Kind of ran it through Bridges and one other curriculum, kind of ranked at the top of that process. Then there's this book, it's from the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, and it basically spells out what is ideal math instruction. So what should every single classroom look like with ideal math instruction, and it's got 8 or 9 different qualities, and so that was a round 2 analysis that we kind of ran both curricula through, and out of that kind of final round of analysis, Bridges Math is the one that ranked highest in 7 out of 8 categories, right? Bridges is very conceptual. That's a huge focus in Minnesota moving forward. We are not going to be rote memorizing step, 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 step. We want this to be conceptual. We want kids to understand the math story that's being told beneath the problem, right? And so Bridges does that very, very well. There's a 20-minute daily number corner. There's a 60-minute core lesson, which has some direct instruction, a lot of small group opportunities in there. And the small group is where we do a lot of our intervention. It's where we do a lot of our acceleration work. Bridges has, by far and away, the best intervention curriculum that I've ever seen in elementary school math. It is not grade level intervention, it is content. So if you're struggling with multiplication, boom, you pull out the multiplication intervention book and it's gonna catch you right up. It's all the steps that you need to follow to get you caught up on what that skill set is. So excellent intervention. And they also have far and away the best acceleration curriculum as well. So really, really innovative idea called concept quests. And so basically it takes the themes that you're covering in class and it's these open-ended math explorations that can take 2 to 3 weeks. So it's kids that I've shown some mastery of today's content, and now I spend 2 to 3 weeks on open-ended math application. Really, really cool stuff. Happy to share some examples of the concept quest, but I think that's going to be a great feature as well. The downside, as you can imagine, we have a lot of things that all of our new teachers are going to have to master, right? And so how we navigate professional development is going to be an important strategy that we're building the first year or two. Bridges is a robust professional development heavy curriculum. Ultimately, that's a good thing, we want excellent math teachers, and teaching Bridges is going to build excellent math teachers, right? It is not the most user-friendly in terms of no prep, I open it up and just go, right? But this is the process that's gonna build us into those conceptual teachers that I think is gonna be really helpful. So that's Bridges, that's the math curriculum that we'd like to go forward with. EL education is the literacy curriculum we'd like to go with. This was the easiest review process that that we did. Back in 2023, Minnesota passed the READ Act, okay? And as a part of the READ Act, it's huge, probably the most comprehensive literacy statute that was written in about 25 years. So very, very complex. But part of it was to vet literacy curriculum for approval at the state level based on alignment to science of reading. Okay? And so there was this very, very robust process where dozens of curricula were submitted to MDE for review, and then MDA went through this very robust process, and if you pass that review, you're approved as a part of the READ Act. There was only one comprehensive K-5 literacy curriculum that was approved through this review, okay? So when I say comprehensive, that means it's got the conceptual piece, and it also has the foundational piece, okay? So foundational, phonemic awareness, letter name, letter sound, that kind of component. And then you've got your conceptual, where it's your vocabulary, your grammar, your your writing, your comprehension kind of components. And so only one of them had both of them, and it's EL education. EL education is actually a curriculum that I do have a fair amount of experience with. It's great, right? It's a very rigorous reading curriculum. One of the things that it does really well is you're not going to just get, here's your reading textbook, and you have these little vignettes that you read 5 pages from a book, and that's how I learn reading comprehension. It's actually deep dives for 9 weeks. So each grade only has 4 units, and they're 9-week units, okay? And so they're very, very, very deep, and they're rooted in trade books. So each of the units actually has a book, particularly for upper elementary, that they're there. You're going through a novel the entire time, and you're taking the time to go deep. I always give the example of a 5th grade module that they do on Esperanza Rising, okay? So it's a chapter book that they do, and they actually spend 3 weeks, first of all, reading the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and that's the first part of it, so it's nonfiction reading, and then the class reads the text, Esperanza Rising, for 4 weeks. They do a deep dive, they make the connections with Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and then every unit ends with a huge project. That's a summative project where they actually have to do something. And so in that particular unit, students actually create a reader's theater. So they have to write out a script of a scene in the book that illustrates an area of the Declaration of Human Rights, and then the students kind of perform it, right? So really, really good stuff, culturally responsive, and of course it is highly touted from MDE, so really like the EL education curriculum. And then for science, science was also somewhat complex. We had 2 front runners that emerged right away. Ran that through a vetting process also with the National Council of Science Teachers. They have these qualities that they're looking for in science education. We created a model for that. And of the 2 that kind of had risen to the top, when I ran it through that model, it was a 4-4 tie between the two curriculum, right? So both were good quality curriculum. Ultimately, we decided to go with Project Lead the Way for the simple fact of student experience, right? We want this part of the day to be the thing that grabs kids' hearts and souls. We want them to do science, not just to read about science. Most of the science curriculum that we encountered was a read about science, okay? It was, here, click through a quick computer module and it'll illustrate how this works. Project Lead the Way is exactly the opposite of that. It is, you are doing science. There is a robust amount of problems and materials that are brought to students, and they have 15 days to 20 days to work through in an open-ended fashion. They're solving problems. They're solving STEM problems, super engaging, super interesting, getting robotics in the classroom. They have different modules for various things, medical science, all these kind of things. But it's very engaging, very interesting. Couldn't recommend you looking it up enough. I think this is going to be something that kids absolutely love, and it's going to challenge them to actually think like scientists. So that's our science curriculum. We do want to kind of swim, upstream a little bit, if that makes sense. We are Math and Science Academy, and so I would say that the average elementary school does 60 minutes of math that's protected, and if you're lucky, you're getting 30 minutes of science most days, right, in elementary school. That's if you're lucky. A lot of places that's not even the case. Here we're gonna do 80 minutes of math every single day, and we're shooting for 45 to 60 minutes of science that we're working to protect depending on the grade level, but we want this to be a daily experience, and it's gonna kind of be the non-negotiable and the part that really, wins kids over. So that's kind of the science curriculum piece. Kaylin. Next one. Then we really move to school culture, right? One of my favorite phrases is culture eats strategy for breakfast. We can have the best ideas in the world, but if we don't build culture in the right way, those ideas get thrown away and destroyed very quickly. So we have to build a great culture that's at the staff level, that's at the student level, those things matter. And so just a few themes that'll kind of describe the culture. We want to kind of build a school where kids grown, do I have to go when it's time to clean up and head home, right? I want you to love coming to school every day, right? You don't come just because you're told you have to, you come because you love it, right? I want to make this a place where deep thinking is the norm, not the exception. Failure is reframed as fuel for learning. Every child is known, connected, safe, and loved. Teachers rediscover the joy of teaching, and our village, our families, our staff, and our community walk shoulder to shoulder, right? Those will be some of the culture themes that we work on putting into action that I think will kind of foster the type of place that we want to be. Next. Part of that culture piece is really around the professionalism floor. We're gonna have a brand new team of staff that have never worked together before, okay? I think we have a really good strategy around recruiting staff, doing so early, really thinking about how we brand our program to make it so that it's something that grabs people's attention and energy. So I have strong confidence we're gonna recruit good people to the table. And we want to make sure that we have some themes at that professionalism level of how we're going to work together, right? We have a big job to do. The first year of a brand new school, it's not going to be a light lift. And if we don't take the time to talk thoughtfully and build our culture together and really engage how we're going to work together, that first year of building the school is going to be challenging, right? And so starting with this idea of a professionalism floor, just like we have an instructional floor, here's our professionalism floor. It's our non-negotiables. You're gonna work on our team. These are the things we're gonna ask you to aspire to, okay? Sometimes we don't always meet our aspirations. When we don't, we reflect on it, we stand up, we keep moving. This is what we're moving towards as a group. One is sincerity. We say what we mean with honesty and care, okay? Honesty and care. There's a lot of Minnesota nice that can ruin a culture fast. It's where we don't have the conversations that we need to have. And so we're gonna norm a process for how do we talk to each other, right? How do we give feedback to one another? How do we receive feedback? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna do it with gentleness, but we're also gonna be honest, right? So there's gonna be a sincerity component. We wanna be about reliability. We follow through on what we say we'll do, okay? Trust is something that is very fast to get rid of. You lose trust very quickly. It takes a long time to earn trust, okay? One of the things that people trust quickly is reliability. If you do what you say you're gonna do, right? It's hard to trust somebody that always drops the ball and never follows through. So we're gonna value reliability. We're also gonna value competence. We commit to doing our work well and growing where needed, okay? Nobody's gonna be perfect day one. Nobody's gonna be perfect year 10, okay? None of us will ever be perfect. And we're gonna aspire to do a good job, right? There's gonna be a set of standards that we have around the work that we do and how we do it. We're gonna work hard, we're gonna be proud of our work. When there's something that we don't know how to do, we're gonna be learners, right? And that's gonna be a theme that's gonna be expected across the board, and I will seek to model that as well. A culture of learners, that's gonna be really important. And then lastly is a culture of care. We act in ways that show we are for each other, right? There are hard days in the teaching world, okay? It's just the way it is, right? It is not an easy job. There are hard days, and hard days are so much better when we've got great people next to us to do those hard days with, right? It makes it so much of an easier lift when we have a team that we've built, and there's a mutual sense of care that we have on that team. And so we're gonna really put a high priority on that at that professionalism level. We can't achieve a student culture without quality staff working in that same direction. Well-rounded programming. As another one of our areas that we talked about, currently we are vetting social emotional learning curriculum. last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, we had a town hall. Lots of families showed up, and then last week we had 4 different sessions with families. Each of the curriculum we shared, and then there was a desired daily experience session that we had with potential elementary families. Some of our next parent engagement is we're gonna launch a couple of different task forces, right? And so these are gonna be a more committed group of families that are gonna come and participate in a 3 consecutive meeting process on a couple of specific themes. So one of them is social emotional learning. We have about 15-20 families that have signed up to join that task force. We'll launch that in November, but we're vetting kind of what our approach looks like there. Restorative practices will likely be a part of that social emotional piece. There's a lot of different reasons why restorative practices is a helpful tool at both the student and staff level for building that community, building that culture. Also around well-rounded programming, we're looking at specialists. Big piece from parent feedback last year, 5 specialists, music, art, PE, Spanish, and STEM. So those will be the 5 specialists that we are working to kind of build, and so there will also be specialist programming there. Kaylee? We're thinking a lot around as well as STEM-based environment is one of our innovations, okay? So what are we gonna do that's gonna be a little bit different than what you can get across the street? So one of the ideas is this concept of a STEM-based environment. And so what does it look like to consider our space as a way to captivate kids all the time, right? Elementary kids have to wait outside for group bathroom breaks every single day of their life, right? They have to wait outside for the art teacher to let them in every single day of their lives. How do we think about the walls and the design and the murals that we put in? Are there other STEM things that kind of capture their visual attention while you're in these waiting spaces? The other piece is around a STEM playground concept that we're working on. So I've had some conversations with the Science Museum of Minnesota. They're really interested in this idea. I'm looking at some different funding relationships right now to kind of help make this a reality. But I think we're gonna have a really cool playground. Okay, it's gonna be right behind the building. There will be a traditional playground structure, but there's so much more space. And I really want us to start thinking about how do we take advantage of our recess space and make it a space for curiosity as well, right? And so the idea is, the Science Museum has outdoor exhibits. What would it look like if they helped design some outdoor exhibits for us to include as a part of our playground, right? Science Museum really, really likes this. We gotta make sure we find some money at the table to help make it a reality, but they're willing to help us do that. So some of the brainstorms that we've had with Science Museum, they do a big thing around sports science, where they have a partnership with the Minnesota Vikings. And so, one of the ideas is, what if you put a 40-yard dash on the playground and kids measure how fast they run the 40, and then there's like little placards around where what are the things that a kid can do to improve their speed. You practice for a couple weeks, you test your speed again, right? You do some things like that. There's lots of trees and rabbits and squirrels, like there's some components around nature that we can kind of think about in our design. We're thinking a little bit, Science Museum has a big focus on food justice, and so what does it look like to, even as a part of our property, create a community garden kind of component, and those kind of things. And so we're working on some of the design efforts on that right now, as well as some of the funding, but I think some of our STEM environment piece is gonna be really cool. I also have the STEM education program, the 3 professors that lead that program at the University of Minnesota, they're gonna come meet with us on Friday, and they're also gonna hopefully be at the table to help us think through some of these innovation ideas. So they're coming to visit Friday. We'll show them around the space to help us think there. I shared a little bit about the parent engagement kind of piece. Moving forward, we've got our kind of task forces, but we've just had really great parent feedback in addition to kind of the formal settings. Lots and lots of calls, lots of emails, probably having 3 to 4 parent meetings every single week at this stage of the game. People really, really interested in getting their kids in, and so really listening to families and also making sure that they have the opportunity to kind of learn more about what's going to make this program special. So that's where parent engagement has been, and I think that's my last slide. Could be wrong. What questions can I answer for you about elementary? Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
go back to that last slide, because I have a question on one of your abbreviations, and I
Sure.
have a question on something I'm wondering where it is. ML?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. So one of the other task forces, so these two are formally built out already. We've already solicited parents to join the task forces, social emotional learning and then accelerated academics. Those are our two for-sures that are happening. One of the other ones that we are building out but have not yet launched is something around the theme of elementary equity, and so really looking at special populations. And so that would be special education students, multilingual students, how do we include them at the table? How do we make sure that we're being thoughtful about our diversity and inclusion efforts across the elementary school? And so that is another task force that we are designing. We have not launched it yet, but that is ML is multilingual.
And I'm guessing gifted and talented is in the
Accelerated academics,
Thank
you
you.
got it. Yep. Other questions I can answer for you? I didn't know how to cut this any shorter. I did way too much, folks, so. But I'm easy to reach, so if you have any questions that come up, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to talk further, answer any questions, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Justin.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing. You've done some really big work. Thank you.
It's been fun, so have a good night, guys.
Thanks, bye. Hard to follow that.
Yeah.
Kate,
All
your
right.
ED goals. for us.
Yep, so I'll be brief since we've had kind of a long presentation. My goals for the year, by March of 2026, there'll be a full curricular scope and sequence for grades K-12 that has incorporated parent feedback, best instructional practices, and remains focused on the MSA mission and vision. Number 2, a 3-year strategic plan will be developed following the TeamWorks protocol and for board approval by May of 2026. And number 3, MSA facilities will be on track to open with expanded K-12 enrollment for the 26-27 school year.
Those are also big goals.
Yeah.
Wonderful goals, so thank you.
Thanks.
I'm excited, thank you, great. Finance committee report.
Yeah, so we had our meeting 2 weeks ago now, about our September finances, and they were about as expected. Our ADM was 741. Last month it was 742, but again, still kind of figuring out who's here and who's not. Still had a few last minute additions and drops. So expected, but still might change. We had a fund balance, kind of as expected. We met our cash on hand. Our debt service ratio was above our bond covenants, so everything was kind of on track. We were 25% of the way through our fiscal year. Yeah, most of the funds were kind of where we expected. There was a few that still needed to be coded a little bit differently, but Shawnee was working on that as we talked to our finance guy, Dustin.
Anything in the June financials that we, in progress it says?
Yeah, June financials, again, kind of what we expected. Some of them, we made, again, percent of our working budget, some of them were a little high, some of them were a little low, balanced out to be about what we expected, with our total expenditures coming out to 103%, but pretty accurate. Yeah, our like PSEO payouts and stuff were all right where we wanted.
Great. Super, thank you. And then the supplemental information?
Yeah, so in the supplemental, it's all like the nitty-gritty, what was spent where, our club finances and stuff like that. Again, we have some money that's already been spent that we had to spend, like prom, we had to put deposits down. We haven't had ticket sales for that yet, so we'll get there. A few other things. Boys basketball, already spent some money, but we haven't taken the athletic fees yet. But yeah, most of the clubs have had their own fundraising, spent money for different things, and it's working out to be pretty balanced.
We need to approve the.
We have to approve the September and the June financials.
Should we do them together or separately?
We usually do it separate.
Okay. So, we need a motion for someone to move to approve the September financial report.
I can move to approve the September's financials.
In a second,
Second that motion.
any questions for Sarah or any thoughts?
Did you say, maybe I didn't hear, why the June is still not finalized?
Yeah, well, we were talking to Dustin, and I think it's more of a state level of money kind of in special ed is still, I don't know if it was tied up still, Kate, or.
Yeah, we're pretty close now. There was just a couple of things, like we just paid, maximized our lease aid this last week. We
I just want
finished
to clarify, are we on September or are we on June right now?
We're in
September.
September,
So that should.
Or
be-
June, I'm sorry, yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking of September right now.
We're
So
doing
we'll come back to
September now,
that,
so it's
Leah.
paid on that
That's
one.
okay.
If
Oh,
it's-
because I was just reading in the,
So it's just,
Right.
hold up, it's still,
You get-
hold
yeah.
it, Let's just-
We'll just,
do, finish September
we'll approve
first.
September first, and we can ask that some questions. Does that make sense? So September, any questions about just the September financial report?
I'm just confused, how we're approving September when we haven't yet received June's final, and so I was questioning the reason for that, so we know what we're approving that's missing from the June.
So June's never 100% final till the audit's done. The audit's beginning this week. We expect that we'll see minimal changes at this point. There always are recoding and small changes. I think things were a little delayed, but the when we're looking at the September, when we're approving the September, we're approving the revenues and the expenditures that occurred in September.
I know at the meeting we talked about PSEO this year was now in the contracted services budget item. And if I recall correctly, you had stated that our PSEO numbers are really close to what you had anticipated, but they're much higher than that they have been in the past. So I guess my question is, as we look at contracted services, our budget for contracted services for this year compared to where we ended up last year, do we have enough in that amount to cover that?
Yeah, so we track that carefully. So we've been working with the colleges. Joelle's been really shaking the numbers out of them. So we continuously monitor that and make sure that we're on track for that, and we are.
Okay. And then I have another question, but I think it goes with the upcoming paid family sick leave amounts coming in, as far as where they will fall into our current budget.
Okay.
Will it be?
So I'll hold on to that.
That'll be later. Okay.
I'll hold on to that to the next one.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions about September financials? So if then, I guess we would need to, have a motion to approve September financials. You know, like to.
I think we
We
made
did
that.
that.
We made that
We
first.
did that.
We need to vote.
We need to vote, thank you. All right, all in favor of approving the September financials? Opposed? Abstain? So September is good. And then we need a motion to approve the preliminary June financials.
So I will move to approve the June financials.
Second?
I will second.
And then now, so comment sheets, so we question about why they're not completed, and we heard that the audit's gonna change some things.
So. I have that sheet from Kristen. We are very close. They were just finishing out the special ed funding. There's a few more things that there were some more coding, there was some special ed paraprofessional money that we were, for training that we were allotted. We were still getting in those last dollar amounts. There has been delays in some of the federal money, which I think is delaying the state. The money has come through. It's not missing. It's just taken longer, which is why it was delayed. Let's see if I can.
So June is the last expenditure and revenue of the school fiscal year.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're
Yeah, they
speaking
just-
about closing out the whole school fiscal year.
Yeah, so that always happens in June, so. I believe that they feel confident enough to begin the audit next week, so I think we should be close. There could be some changes, but they should be very minor at this point.
And why would we approve it before the audit?
We always do.
Other
Typically,
questions?
we would approve it in August, but
Right.
it was delayed.
Just clarify, is this the same, thing that we voted on last meeting to, edit the audit, I believe, to say that it's going to,
So that was the annual report and the final fund balance, but we won't update we won't put an addendum into the annual report until we have an audited. And we always do the annual report before we have an audited balance. The balance is about 200,000 higher than what we had originally. And we knew that was gonna happen. That's why we brought that forward when we did the annual report.
But it was anticipated that.
It was
be done
anticipated,
right
yeah.
now.
Any other discussion on the June report? All right, and so all in favor of, lose my words, approving the June report? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, well, motion passes. Okay, that's it for finance, right? You good with it? Okay, governance committee.
So we met on Thursday, October 2nd, with many people in attendance, more than I had anticipated, so that was a great surprise, to log in. And I will say that there was great discussion as well. We moved through several policies that have, legislative updates, and we were able to discuss those, and, what do we call it, approve?
Yeah, recommend to move forward.
Recommend to move forward, okay. There was one bylaws, we got into the bylaws, that we spent a significant portion of the meeting reviewing, which was with the addition of the elementary school, should we have change to the structure of our board, additional seats, and then the composition of teacher, parents, and elementary versus secondary levels. And so we recommended to move that to our workshop, which we discussed 2 weeks ago at our board workshop. And at this point have decided to make no changes and recommend in the future that we can review and make changes at that time. And so we need to move that back down and review that at the next governance committee.
We, at this point, since the board has not indicated that they want to move forward with that, we can just give a report.
Okay.
And if the board were to decide they want to look at bylaws again, then then the governance committee would come back and with direction from the board as to how to move forward.
Okay, lovely. So there were a few that we did not, we didn't get to a few that we will have to come back to during November.
Yep, so typically when we do the governance, we meet every 2 months and we do some for the ones that we did for this month, and then we have some coming in November, just to spread the reading load for the board out just a little bit. There was a time when we were, there were hundreds of pages of policies every month, and that was a lot.
I conclude.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thank
just
you.
wanted to note, I believe Petal was in attendance as well.
Oh, is she
that's
not
it.
on that list? Okay.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, we can update that.
Thank you, government committee.
Did you have any other comments?
Okay, we have 3 action items. The first is a science trip proposal for going to Belize in summer of 2027. We have a picture here.
Yes. Hi, my name is Marissa Melick. I was here 2 years ago. That is actually a misprint. We're not going to Belize. I already took students to Belize.
Okay.
And it was great. And this is coming out of having a lot of positive feedback from students and parents, the kids that I did take to Belize, wanting more science trips. So I have a little pamphlet you can look through, just kind of shows, I think I have enough for everyone. The kids can share. Or maybe other people have to share. But this just has kind of some information about what the trip is. Oh, yeah,
I can
maybe
share with Leanne.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. So this is just a quick proposal. It is a health and science not field trip, but trip to Edinburgh and London. I have a ton of students who are really interested in medical sciences, and I want to provide more opportunities to them. And I think that this would be a really good opportunity. Make 2027 even more exciting than it already will be. And so they'll spend some time in both cities. We're doing all sorts of different tours of current medical facilities, both very, very old and new. They'll get to see a surgical stage and how surgeries used to be done. They'll get to go into a forensics lab and do some science of their own, and then they'll get to do a couple of the touristy things too as well. I am proposing that the trip would be, and it's through EF Tours, which we've worked with for a couple years now. The trip would likely be between June 23rd and July 1st. Those are like the proposed dates. They do shift a little bit depending on prices, but it's just to get the best price for students and families. So the current cost for families to travel, and it's 10 days, I believe. Is that 10 days?
9 to 11.
9. Yes, it'd be 9. The 11 is an extension to Paris. It is a possibility, but the Paris part wasn't a STEM-focused portion of the trip, so I decided to not do that part. Also, having been to Paris myself, it is a little bit of a chaotic city, and taking students there would be very eventful, but not STEM-focused. So the trip would cost about $5,079. The earlier I provide this opportunity to families, the better, because it gives them more time to pay off that cost. There's also lots of opportunities for scholarships. So EF itself provides families with scholarships. They can create a video about why they want to travel, and they can get up to $1,000 to travel. And then they can also create a little profile that they can send out to families, and during holidays or birthdays, they can say, hey, could you support me in my travels, rather than a present or something like that. For the Belize trip, I did fundraise enough to cover all students' tipping money, so all of their tips that they would need to give as we went along. All students that indicated that they were of higher need, they were all covered. So the fundraising did that for them. So I intend to do something very similar for this one. Any questions? Yes.
So EF is the company that sponsored the Belize trip
Yes,
last year?
yes,
Okay.
last year, last summer.
How many students received scholarship?
So I had, which scholarship? The one from EF? I don't get to know that information,
You don't.
because it's through EF, not through me.
So the student applies and
Yeah, if
EF
yeah.
makes the decision and we're
Mhm.
not aware of
Yeah,
who
I,
is
they didn't
selected?
tell me any information about it.
Okay, and then did the school sponsor any scholarship?
Just the ones that I did.
Meaning?
The fundraisers that I, provided to students.
Okay, and then did you make the decision or was there a committee on their scholarships? We're thinking our equity focus and
Yeah.
wanna make sure that
So I
we're
provided.
opening opportunities to all students,
Yeah.
and what are we doing to do that?
So I opened a form for all families. It was like no questions asked. And they just let me know if they were interested in receiving any fundraising money or not. So it was just based on their own indicated need.
And how do you feel that went?
I mean, I feel it went well. Families were very honest. I didn't want to question it because I don't know anyone's personal family situation, so.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fine balance between protecting information and questioning, but also being proactive to make sure that people who want these opportunities are feel included and fully access the
Yeah,
opportunities.
absolutely.
So that's the line of question I'm asking.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, no, I feel like it went well. I had a very small group of students. It was 12 kids, so it was pretty easy to provide the money as needed. So every student who indicated they had need got funding for their tipping money.
And how many students are you anticipating for this trip?
I'm hoping for around 30.
Okay.
I don't know what number I'll get, but that's my hope.
How many, the word supervisor is coming to mind, but maybe chaperone?
Yeah,
Um,
so it's a 6-to-1 ratio.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So for every 6 kids that sign up, I get 1 free chaperone.
Okay.
What grades?
And I noticed this one,
Oh, that's right.
is breakfast and dinner only is
Yes.
provided,
Yes,
so
that is common with
on
all
top
of their
of
Europe
the-
trips.
the cost here and needing a passport, they shouldn't need a visa at that point, right?
I don't think so. There
I
is
don't remember what the new
There-
rules over there and what amount
Yes.
of time it
there
is.
is the tax for London specifically that they
Yeah.
have passed, but that's €10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So families will need to have tips plus lunches.
Yes, lunch will
Lunch
not
money
be covered.
for those
Yes.
kids.
So that would be the same thing as our Spain trip that we did 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Belize one was nice. They did cover lunch, but that was also because the places we were going, there was like no opportunities to purchase lunch, so they had very like specific relationships with the places that we were at. So this kind of, it is a little bit more money, but it is an opportunity for them to kind of try things that they maybe wouldn't normally try, since they're in a different place. So kind of gives them more option. And to answer your question,
What grades are available to sign up?
so this would be current 11th graders at the high end, and then 8th graders at the low end, because they'll be 9th graders next year. No current 12th graders. I'm sorry. Too old.
You could be a chaperone.
There you go.
18-year-old chaperones.
I think we said it had to be like 20
You're
some last year.
welcome. You're welcome for that problem.
I'd love to go back to
Yeah.
And then, you said that lunch would would that be a student expense?
It would be a student expense, yeah.
And then you also said, tip money, but, you said the last field trip you were able to raise money to cover all the tip money?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And this one should actually be slightly less because the Belize trip we did, there was so many people, it was like a record number of tips that you had to give because we had so many guides. So this will be a little bit less in terms of tip money.
Because we will have a lot of new students next fall,
Yes.
will they be able to join in if they,
Yes.
I mean, it's a shorter time for them to raise their money, but if
Yeah.
they want to, they could.
Right, it's very
Okay.
simple, just setting up a meeting and having anyone interested come. So,
Okay.
my hope is to start having like little meetings just to get everyone interested and see who wants to come, and then probably next fall, I would do another one just to get more interest and to include our new students too.
When do you anticipate that this trip will open up?
So I was thinking of having the first meeting, like informational session on November 6th, so that it would open up then. If it passes.
So this is a bit ahead of the typical schedule, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes it cheaper, the price is much lower the earlier you do it, and then families can break it into smaller pieces.
And how do students know about this? How will they learn?
So for the Belize trip, they send like all this stuff. So I have big posters that I can hang up. I had all the science teachers posted in their Google Classroom. I can put it in the announcements and then also in the newsletter as well. That's about all the ways I know how to communicate with families.
Will it be sent to advisors?
I can. I didn't. Well, I think I did for the Blues trip, but it'll be in the announcements too. So advisories would get it that way too. I don't want to leave out PSEO students.
Is there something we need to do action-wise?
So we have to approve the trip because it's foreign
Okay.
travel.
Okay.
What types of fundraising did you do for Belize?
So I did a Cafe Zupas one, and then I also did a bagging event at Holsey's. The bagging one was much more successful.
I was gonna say, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
Yes.
they work really well. We did that for NHS as well this year and last year. They're very successful.
Alright, so sounds like we have a lot of good questions out there and a lot of answers. So, and thank you, you have a lot of good information here. So is there a motion to approve the trip to England, to London and Edinburgh? For the summer?
I'll move to approve the trip to England.
Is there a second? I will second. Alright, any other discussion?
Yeah, I would just recommend that, I don't know what the practice is across activities and scholarships, but I'd recommend or hope that there's some consistency in approach. I don't know what that's your role, but I would just recommend that there is some consistency in approach to make sure that all students who want to access have fair access.
Any other thoughts on the proposed trip? All right, let's vote then. So if in favor of approving the trip in December 2027 to England and Edinburgh, aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passed.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, yeah,
Do you
thank
want
you.
those or do you want me to take it back? I can collect.
I'll
just reuse
them.
them.
You want it?
You can take it.
I did a little bit of writing in there, but you. I think
Okay,
that
sounds
it'll
good.
be okay.
Yes, thank you.
It's all school appropriate.
You don't want it. You want it? Okay.
Okay, next one is MetLife proposal. So, Kate, is there something that we need to?
Yep, so, by state statute, January 1, we have to provide, paid family leave to most employees within the state of Minnesota. We have 3 options. Not everybody has 3 options, but our insurance carrier has given us 2 additional ones on top of the state. And the percentage that we will have to pay is anywhere between 0.88% or 0.9 or 0.87. So MetLife is the cheapest with a 2-year rate guarantee. We will collect 0.44% from employees. That's part of the state statute. So then we would pay the rest. One of the benefits of using an insurance carrier as opposed to the state is this insurance carrier manages all the claims, verifies them, makes sure that they are all consistently applied. The state does not offer that. The employer has to figure out and validate all of the requests, which is cumbersome and not necessarily cheaper in terms of the rate that we would pay. And I'm concerned that the state has underestimated the cost, so it's quite possible that the cost will go up significantly. They've got the cap at 1.1% for next year. I think that having us move to an insurance carrier is going to be more money, more cost savings because of the man hours that we will have to administer the program. One of the things with MetLife, we had to move some other line items over to from principal to MetLife. We selected, and we'll still have cost savings on the line items that don't directly impact staff. They would also give us a significant savings on dental, but to change our dental carrier mid-year causes all kinds of problems with people who've already had a certain amount of out-of-pocket they've paid, and disrupting employees mid-year just seems to be cumbersome and not real friendly to our staff. So life insurance, group life, supplemental group life, short-term disability and long-term disability, those are line items that most staff don't have a relationship with the carrier, so it won't really impact them to switch. So the recommendation from our insurance carrier and to the board is to go with the MetLife proposal. And we will take a look at, they'll quote us a dental rate in the next year when we quote for August 1.
So does that cover those of the attachments to this? There's
Yep, so the second attachment, number 2, is just a comparison of the various costs. Some of it, like the first page, is dental. Well, we're not moving dental right now. We're not recommending that move. But it is significant savings. It's just not the time, I don't think, to move dental. But we do save money on the other line items as well in moving. So I think that we end up ahead. And it is a required action. The board has to decide on November 10th. If we have not signed with a carrier, we are with the state, because there's no option to not do this. So it's a quick turnaround, but it's taken the state quite a bit to get us sorted out to this point where we can start to get quotes.
All right, so
I'm sorry.
good. Well, I was gonna say, it sounds like we need a motion to approve the MetLife paid leave program.
Yep.
Can I ask real quick, because I didn't catch it? So you're not moving dental, but are you moving vision then, or not vision either?
We're not moving vision right now. Vision is employee funded, so it's not something that MSA pays for. Employees can buy into it, but it's not funded.
I was just thinking that would be one way that we could save the employees some money, since they're gonna get they're gonna have to pay that 0.44%. Would be one way to put some more money back in their pockets.
Yeah, and we're not moving anything that employees are actually have relationships with, what they,
Gotcha.
So is there a motion then to approve the move to MetLife and family safety?
I move.
Is there a second?
Second them.
All right. So are there any other questions about this or thoughts?
I just had the
Very
one from
sure.
earlier, which was about the budget and so forth. Where does this, I'm guessing, but I wanna have this verified. Does this 0.43% then, whatever that cost is, fall under salary and benefits then?
it's in the benefits line.
Okay, and that's something that we have not put into the budget as of this point, or have
No,
we?
we budgeted for it, because we've known it's coming,
Okay,
so we budgeted for it.
okay.
Did we budget to that potential cap of the 1.1 or on the lower side of it?
No, we budgeted at the 0.88, which is what we've known it was gonna be from that, for January 1. It's possible that it would change on January 1, 27, but that would be in the next budget. If we select MetLife, they've guaranteed us, so.
Right.
From what I've heard from you, Kate, it sounds like MetLife is a more cost-efficient plan to go with and a more secure plan, and that the state doesn't provide guarantees of.
Well, they can't guarantee our price for the second year, and they don't provide us with the service in terms of just that consistency with the insurance company. There's nobody saying, they don't know the employees. There's nobody's gonna come back and say you were playing favorites by approving this one and not approving that one. You just submit it and it works through the whole actuarial process and, there's more protection for us as an employer. Because if somebody had an issue, they would be taking that up with MetLife, not with Math and Science.
Sarah, any other thoughts?
No, looks like
Good.
that's probably the best one.
Isaac, any questions, thoughts? Good.
So then probably in the spring, we'd expect to do a vote on dental insurance
Yeah,
coverage.
we'll take a look at dental insurance. We'll have to, renew our health insurance as well.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
happens anyway, yep.
Mark, anything?
No, it seems like that's the way to go.
Any other thoughts?
Just-
Maybe?
A question to verify, the benefits year aligns with the calendar year, or is it the school year?
The benefits year is August 1 to July 30th.
Oh, so it aligns with the school year.
Sort of, yeah.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When is open enrollment?
We go through open enrollment, we have teachers do that prior to departure from the school year, so we do it in
Okay.
May usually.
Okay, got it.
Leanne, any other questions, thoughts?
I do not.
Brian?
Nothing right now.
Gary? Yeah. All right, let's vote
The
then.
students.
Did y'all have sticker shock when you saw how much it cost? Like the interns? Huh?
Do you wanna see how much it costs?
But that's one of the
I still have
least
sticker shock
expensive
as an
ones.
employer,
Me too.
yeah.
pay our health
Economics
insurance about
right here.
50,000 a month.
right?
This is their current.
Probably go on.
Yep, all right, I think we are able to vote then, so, all in favor of, approving, so move to MetLife? Aye?
Aye.
Barry?
Mary,
Barry? Sorry, Barry, thank you. Opposed?
I opened that can for you, so.
Abstained?
I used to sell insurance, so I kinda understand this stuff.
Yeah, all right, and we've passed, there we go. Okay, great. Last one, line of credit renewals is a formality.
right, so we have a $500,000 line of credit with our bank. We have not used it in at least 10 years. However, it protects us if there was ever any holdback on funding, so that we're able to still have the cash flow available. We need to renew it annually, so this is our time to renew it. So, that,
All right, so we need a motion to approve the line of credit.
I will move to approve the line of credit.
Second?
I will second that motion.
All right. Questions?
Is there any discussion to increase it, or just keeping it at the 500?
at this point, that's what they offer us. I mean, we could ask for more, I suppose, but we haven't had to use it, and we have a solid fund balance. So even before we went into borrowing money, we would spend down our fund balance. Not spend it down, but we would tap into that, so we would just be repaying ourselves.
Sure.
But our bondholders like us to have that. It's always good to have money available if there was ever, any kind of shortfall. And we've got a lot going on between, there's some more instability in government funding, or at least cash flow, and with the expansion, we don't expect to be tapping into any of that, but we want to be able to, if something were to go wrong, have the cash available to remain solvent.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, I think I remember once where they tapped the line of credit. Probably when Dayton was governor, and there was a bigger holdback then. But it's been a long time. And yeah, it was that, but I would say with the federal uncertainty right now and the shutdown, it makes a lot of sense to extend that, to have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor of approving the line of credit renewal? Opposed? Abstained? All right, that motion passes. And that is the end of our action items. So, we need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Are there no future items?
We didn't.
Was there, Caitlin, something else?
Is there no future items?
Oh, no, I don't see any.
No, we'll have an audit coming.
Okay,
We'll have to figure out, for our work session, how to, go through our survey results,
Okay.
So those would be two big things that are coming forward. And I apologize, I was out of town, so
right.
we didn't get those on the agenda,
Uh-huh.
so.
And remind us, Kate, we expect to hear from MDE by the end of October, is that right?
On so they have 30, business days to respond. So that could push it into November. Then if there were any questions or concerns or edits requested, then our authorizer has 20 days to provide those. And then they have 15 business days to respond to that. The decider is the authorizer. What the MDE is doing is making sure that they've got all the paperwork organized and correct. So I would imagine, I've read the submission. It was very good, very positive. I don't expect there to be any real pushback from the state. It would just be tighten up this, you didn't answer this question, that kind of thing.
All right, well then, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I think I already did.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you
did.
gotta take the vote.
Did we get a second on that?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
opposed? Abstained. Meeting adjourned at 7:36.
Ooh, good job.